Hey guys, let's see here. I'm gonna go do some right capital tutorials. I want to make sure I can get. Hold on, just a second. I gotta. Oh, here we go. Oh, sweet. There's that. Oh, cool. That can work. Oh, there we go. Hey, sweet. Looks like it works. Cool, man. Cool. I think we're working there. All right, all right. Let's see if we can get that. All right, cool. Good, good, good. Hey, what's up, Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo. All right, let's see if I can't close out of this. All right, on. All right, cool. Perfect, perfect. So I was wanting to start with do some right capital stuff. Not quite noon yet. I figured I'd wait just to make sure I can get online here, but looks good so far. Appreciate y'all being here. Absolutely. If I can get, hold on just a second. We got Dana. What's going on in Maine, brother? What's going on in the great state of Maine? And KK. Hey, what's up, dog? Hold on just a second. Hold on just, Kevin. What's going on? I thought KK was Kevin. All right, gotcha. It's a different person. Right on. Oh, I can't get this to all right. So if you all have any questions on right capital, if you want to throw them to me, we'll try to do some grunt work here. My man Scott is developing a Google group, which I'll share here shortly, that folks can jump on that, which is pretty cool too. That's free. It's just a community group. Hey, CG Poley in the house. What's going on? And so we'll get that going too for the right capital stuff. Hold on just a second. All right, there we go. Cool. All right, hold on. Looks like we are live and in person here. Adam Harvey, what's going on? Tucson, Arizona. All right. All right, cool. Good, good, good. So like I said, I'm going to start trying to do these on Wednesdays at noon Eastern time. And then I'll keep doing it on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. And I think the ones I do on Wednesdays will be more of a live stream where I share with you some tutorials and things of that nature. And so what I want to do first and foremost is I'm going to share with you, let's see, I think I go here. Yeah, I'm going to share with you this right here. And hope you all can see this. This is let me show you what, and I tell you, so I'm working on my course right now. I'm really getting some headway onto that, and I'm freaking stoked doing it. I love it. And it's fantastic. I mean, fantastic for me to do. It might not be fantastic for the end user, but man, I love it. I love doing it, and I'm really making some headway here. And I'm not gonna have probably as many videos in the next couple of days as I typically have, simply because I'm really putting my mind in this course. When I got back from Seattle, I just had all these ideas I got to get out there. But I did want to share with you this, and so I'm gonna see if y'all can see this. This is a sample statement from Wanda Worker. Let's see if it shows up here. Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Yeah. Yeah, sweet. All right, cool. All right. So, man, Social Security, everyone and their mom discounts it. And I don't understand why. I literally don't understand why. So my course is premised on the idea of you got a husband and wife, both making $40,000, needing about $50,000 of income. How are they going to make it work? You're also going to have a single person. We'll use a woman making about $50,000 of income, needing about, we'll probably say $35,000, or she makes about $50,000 a year in income. She needs about $35,000 income. How is she going to make it work? That's what my course is going into. So again, you got husband and wife, both making 40. And then you got, single Sally making 50. Husband and wife need about $50,000 a year. Single Sally needs about $35,000 a year. How are they going to make that work? And that's what my course is geared towards right there. And so anyway, the issue that I cannot stress enough is your Social Security. You probably heard me say this a million times a Sunday. It probably bores you by now, but this is the sample statement from Social Security. And what we see here is this right here is the amount that Wanda Worker is going to make at her full retirement age. Now, she was born in 1959. So her full retirement age is going to be 66 years and 10 months, but we're just going to round up to say 67. So at 67 years old, she's going to make 1915. But there's so much more that goes into this. And what I'll show you here is this says right there, you've earned enough credits to qualify for benefits, and that's just working 10 years. So that's what that means, or being a spouse. At your current earnings rate, if you continue working until 67, i.e. your full retirement age. Again, her real full retirement age is 66 and 10 months, but they're just saying 67 here. At your current earnings rate, if you continue to work until your full retirement age, you'll have $19.15 a month. So the insinuation is she has to keep working for another, she's 60, she'll be 60, she's 60 now. Yeah, she's 60 now. She has to keep working for another 7 years. And her current earnings rate is $48,000 a year. That's the insinuation. And I'm just telling you, man, that's a big insinuation to us. You're making a mistake if you think that's true. And I'm not going to get too deep into here today, but we just take these spreadsheets of be able to calculate what her actual earnings record will be if she does cut out like next year. And what you do is you go to this index earnings. When we computed a person's earnings, we use a national average wage indexing series to index that person's earnings. Such indexation ensures that a worker's future benefits reflects the general rise in the standard of living that occurred during his or her working lifetime, i.e. inflation. Wage indexing depends on the year in which the person is first eligible to receive benefits. For retirement, eligibility is 62. So your earliest year of eligibility is when you turn 62. So I was born in 1970. My ELY is called earliest year of eligibility is 2032. So in this case, if a person reaches 62 in 2020, then 2020 is that person's first year of eligibility. All right, an individual's earnings are always indexed to the average wage levels 2 years prior to the first year of eligibility. So it's basically you're saying the average wage index is what we're going to index it to, and it'll make sense here in just a second, until they're 60 years old. After that, it's just using cost of living adjustments. All right. And then they talk about the average index monthly earnings and all that. So I want to show you something. So here is Wanda Worker, the sample statement. Her earliest year of eligibility, given that she's born in 1959, is 2021. That is when she turns 62 years old. So we go to this thing, this website on ssa.gov, and we click Submit Request. Now, these are her indexing factors, all right? These are specific to anyone born in 1959. She'll have an indexing factor just like this. And I'll tell you what that means here in just a second. When we compute a person's benefit, we use a national average wage index to index that person's earnings. The factors shown below can be used to closely approximate the index earnings for workers born in 1959 and thus eligible to become beneficial for Social Security in 2021. If you'll see down here in 2019 and 20, we don't know what the benefits are going to be, the indexing amount, because they'll just be based on cost of living adjustments. So they're just going to say ones down here. So any amount of money that Wanda makes in 2019, 20, 21 and such, we don't have an index amount to use. So we're just going to say it's one, basically what her earnings benefit is going to be. Anyway, so let me show you what I'm talking about here. So we extrapolate all these numbers for her indexing amount. Oops, let me get that out of the way here just real quick. Get out of the way. This thing is always driving me up the wall. All right, hold on just a second. Get out of the way, man. All right, there we go. And how do I get that freaking thing out of the way? Hold on just a second. All right, and we go to the spreadsheet. So we're taking Wanda's annual earnings record, which are all these numbers right here. So she made in 1975, $224. In 1995, she made $24,696. In 2005, she made $40,502. But we've got to index those numbers to what the indexing amount was based on this indexing factor. All right. So the amount of money she made in 1985 will be times by 3.22%. So we look at her statement. In 1985, she made $11,287, but we got to times that by her indexing amount. In this case, it's going to be 3.22%. So what Social Security will do will base her amount of earnings off those two numbers there, $36,385. That's what's happening here. Now, again, I'm making a short shift to this relative to what I'm doing in my course, but we take the amount of money she made in 1985, the actual dollars, we times that by her indexing amount, which is 3.22, and that gives us her indexed benefit for that year. And what Social Security does is they take the top 35 of your indexed annual earnings, the top 35. They don't, all these other years where Wanda made money and she paid taxes on, it just goes into the system. She doesn't get any benefit from it at all. So she only gets 35 years of benefits for her record. So one of the things that people say when they say Social Security is a good investment, it's not. It's just, literally, it's not a good investment. I mean, be it as it may, it is a Ponzi scheme. No other way around that. And I like Social Security. I'm a fan of it. But let's not. I was watching my man Devin 6 months or so ago. He had this big scenario where he shows Social Security is a good investment. It's not, because all these other years they're gone. I mean, the $5,000 that Wanda made in 1981 is not. Social Security it gets the money from the taxes, but they don't give any benefit to her whatsoever. So if you work 50 years, you only get 35 years of credit, essentially. So those other 15 years you pay tax are just gone. And when you factor in those years, no one can sit there and say Social Security is a good investment. It doesn't mean you freaking, burn it in the fire pit. It just says at the end of the day, stop this idea that Social Security is a better investment. It's just not. But be it as it may, is what we're working on. So we're going to take the top 35 years of index earnings. Remember, 1985, she made $11,000, but we times that by 3.22. So her index earnings for 1985 is $36,000. We take the top 35 years of those and we add them all together. In this case, she has 1.87 million of indexed earnings. And that's what her benefit is based on, this 1.87 million. Even though she didn't make 1.87 million in actual dollars, she only made 1.87 million in index dollars, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to show you in my course is what happens if she leaves work today at 60, basically at 60, and doesn't work again. What will that do to her Social Security benefit? And I'm telling you right now, you'll be shocked that it's not going to drop much. It just won't. And so that's what I think a lot of people don't realize, that Social Security, once you got those 35 years of earnings consolidated, it won't change much at all, your benefits. So now people always say, but Josh, if she leaves work, she won't have a 401k contribution, health insurance and all that. Man, I get all that. But what I'm just saying is I cannot tell you. I was talking to a lady last night in Tucson, my man, who's, I think, CJ. And she's like, I said, just, freaking don't take Social Security until you're 70. And she's like, but I don't want to work until I'm 70. I said, you don't have to. You just don't take Social Security until you're 70. You don't have to stay working until you're 70. You can quit working right now if you want and take Social Security later. You can quit working right now if you want, take Social Security now. You can do whatever you want. Retiring and taking Social Security are not synonymous. Anyway, so this is one of the things I'm doing on my course, because I tell you, I cannot stress how many people think they've got to stay working until 67 to get this amount of money. They just don't. In this case, they have to stay working at your current earnings rate. If you continue working until you're 70, your benefit will be $24.05 a month. Again, it won't be. It could be, but it won't necessarily mean you have to keep working until you're 70. So I want to share that with you guys. That's pretty important. The indexing numbers, and I'll put a link in the show notes for this when we're done here. A huge thing to understand how the indexing factors work. So just remember, when you turn 62, that is your earliest year of eligibility. Your index amounts will be different than my index amounts if you were not born in 1970. If you were born in 1970, you'll have this exact same indexing. So whatever money I made in 1991, I think I made $14,000 as a private first class in the Army. I times that $14,000 by 3.907, and that gets my indexing amount. Now you'll see my indexing numbers are higher than Wanda Worker's because I haven't worked as long as she did, because she's older than me. So everyone thinks that means one of the workers getting screwed. No, it just means at the end of the day, she didn't pay as much into the system as I did from actual dollars. And I don't get the benefit until I'm 62 either. So it all works out in the wash. So, all right, let's see any questions on that. All right, so let's dive. Deb, howdy. Tom, Starlin. All right, nothing like Social Security talking on Wednesday. Another great day in retirement. Right on, right on. What are you? Yes, I am. Right Capital, absolutely. That's why I'm starting to do these videos more and more. Scooby Doo says he's having double counting for retirement expenses. All right. Oh man, first fire week, right on. All right, that's cool. All right, so let's go into some Right Capital stuff then. All right, so I'm gonna we got old Charlotte here, Charlotte Scanlon, that's my wife. All right, so make sure y'all can see that. All right, so okay, cool. So we had a guy that said for double counting. What you've got to do, I'm just telling you right now. So you've got to go to profile. And then here's a simple one. This is just literally, this isn't what we own, but basically at the end of the day, what you're going to see here is you're going to see goals, retirement expenses. All right. So if you have retirement expenses, that's all inclusive of your health insurance. Don't do that. All inclusive of your property tax. Don't do that. All inclusive of your mortgage. Don't do that, because there are separate line items for all that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you go to retirement here, click on retirement, go to cash flows, and you go to expenses. You're going to see all these separate line items for expenses. You're going to see living expense. So the only thing we want, you're going to see housing, debt, healthcare, insurance premiums. If you have some rental outflows, property tax, all that other stuff. The only thing we want in living expense and profile and goals, the only thing we want in living expense is how much your discretionary income is going to be to fill up the car with gas, to eat food, to go to the movies. You can create a second box if you want for a vacation. Go add goal. You can do a vacation goal down here. So we got Charlotte's vacation goal. She's going to go to Ireland one time in 2023, and it's going to cost her $15,000. $15,000, and she'll do it in 2022, I guess. And that will be a one-time goal she goes to Ireland, if that makes sense. So we'll click on that. Then you go back to retirement. Then we go back to cash flows. And then we go to expenses. And what you'll see here is under goals, you'll see that, excuse me, that's going to be under, hold on just a second. It's going to be under goals. You'll see it right here, goals, vacation goal. See that? And that's adjusted for inflation, by the way. And I'm using a 3% inflation. So what you'll see is you go to vacation, and there's Charlotte's vacation to Ireland right there for $15,000. And today's numbers, we adjusted by 3% a year for inflation. If you go down here again, you go to, so you got a goals here. Now, what I've done here is I've created, instead of having a typical retirement expense, which is what, go to profile, go to goals. So instead of having, typically I'll use retirement expense. I'll say how much you need to live on, and you'll say $4,000 a month. And I'll put $4,000 a month here. I'll say, okay. But then I'll ask, does that include your property tax, your homeowner's insurance, your medical bills? And if you say yes, we got to back that out. So like the lady I was talking to you last night, she thought she's going to need $30,000 a month in retirement expenses, but that included her property tax and her homeowner's insurance of $250 a month. So we had to back the $250 a month out for homeowner's insurance and property tax, because we're already accounting for that here. We're already counting that for over, I'll show you, it's already being accounted for. So that you just got to make sure under cash flows that you're not double dipping on your expenditures. So we go to expenses, and for right here, she had housing was her property tax, and her homeowner's insurance. And we don't want that. We want that here, but we don't want that accounted for here. And then on top of that, an income as well, or as expenses as well, because again, you're just double dipping. So I can't stress this enough. Your living expenses is literally what it takes to fill up the car with gas, what it takes to just to live, to food, all that stuff. That's what you want. Your living expenses, what I call is your discretionary. Your housing and your healthcare are stuff that can't be tightened. You can't tighten the bill for housing costs and healthcare, if that makes sense. So we want those absolutely separated from all this other stuff, because if times get tight and your living expenses are $4,000 a month, and that includes eating lobster tails, well, you're gonna have to go to freaking what's the alternative of lobster tails? I don't know, freaking beans. You can tighten up your belt here, but you can't sardines. I don't know, but you can't tighten up your belt on housing and healthcare. So we want to make sure housing and healthcare are their own separate entities for sure. So that's one thing there. I get a lot of questions on how to do Roth conversions. So let me just show you how you do this. So, everything is based on profile and then income. This is not as intuitive as I'd like it for Roth conversions, but once you figure it out, you'll get it. So profile, income, because a Roth conversion is literally an income. It's literally generating income for which you got to be taxed on. And so what you'll see here is we have Charlotte's Social Security. And I just want to point something out. Remember, use what your PIA is according to your statement. So here's Wanda Worker's statement. She would put 1915 here, because that is what her benefit will be at her full retirement age, her PIA. Her primary insurance amount is this amount right there. That is her PIA, primary insurance amount. Do not put what is going to be when you take it at 70 or if you take it at 62. The software will calculate that for you automatically. And what you'll see here is it'll say, when are you going to take your benefit? Well, if Charlotte takes at 70 as opposed to 67, it will calculate her benefit based on taking that 70, because the software knows what her primary insurance amount is. Do not change it. Just put your primary insurance amount in here. Now, you change the year for which you want to take it, that's fine. But you've got to put the PIA in here, because that's what the software does to calculate it. So many people make this mistake. And actually, they do it the wrong way. They say, I'm going to take it at 70, and my benefit says at 70, I'm going to make $24.05 a month. And so what they'll do is they'll put $24.05 a month right here, as opposed to 1915. And that's wrong, because the software will say, oh, your PIA is $24.05 a month, whatever it is. We're going to give you 8% earnings credits on top of the $24.05. But that's not what your benefit is. Your PIA is 1915 or whatever that was. I cannot stress this enough. Right here, make sure you put your full your PIA in here, and then change the year for which you want to take Social Security. All right, so let's go back. So we log into software. We say we want to do some Roth conversions. We're going to go to profile, and we're going to go to income, because literally you're generating income for which to pay tax on. So what you want to do is you want to create a new box. You go to add income and distribution, add income distribution. And this will say 401k. You can type whatever you want. You can type it in, Tom Brady's the man. You can say the Steelers suck. You can say whatever you want. Obviously, you'd probably want to have it as typed in as Roth conversions, as I've done here. So we'll cancel this out. So for Charlotte, I got Roth conversions. Now here, I'll say you want to make sure this drop down goes to what you're trying to do with it. Are you trying to convert it? Are you just trying to take it out? Are you trying to roll over to an IRA if it's a Roth 401k? What are you trying to do here? So in this case, you want to make sure that you're doing a Roth conversion button is checked. Now, a second thing, you got to make sure this right here from account is situated correctly, because a lot of people will have 401k, 403b, TSP accounts, and they're going to roll it to an IRA, and then they're going to do the conversions. But if the software doesn't know that it's in an IRA yet, and you're saying we're going to do it from an IRA, but your money's still showing up in a 401k as opposed to an IRA, nothing will happen, because the software doesn't recognize that the money that you have is in an IRA. It just recognizes that in a 401k. So let me give you an example. If I'm working for the federal government, I got $300,000 in TSP money right now, and I want to do Roth conversions. even if I plan on rolling it over to an IRA upon my separation from service, the facts are it's not in an IRA right now. It's only in a 401k type of account, a TSP, thrift savings plan. So I don't want to say it's in an IRA if it's not in an IRA. I want to say it's the 401k, 403b, TSP, because that's where it is right now, if that makes sense. So that's what I've just noticed in my own, kind of trials and tribulations. Make sure this is clicked on to convert to Roth, and then make sure it comes out from the right account, if that makes sense. Now, in Charlotte's case, all the money she has in this, fake scenario is all in an IRA. So I want to show that there. So here you got annual amount. You can increase it each and every year. You can do whatever you want. Standard rule is tax-free, not as taxable, just standard taxation. If it were tax-free because it's coming from a Roth 401k to a Roth IRA, you'd want to check tax-free there. And just common sense stuff. And it gives you a little thing here. And remember, the distribution before 59.5 will not be subject to the 10% penalty. Why? Because we're taking it and converting it to an IRA, Roth IRA. And so it tells you that. The software is pretty good. I'm telling you, software is pretty smart. It's kind of like people who are messing around with engines on new vehicles. You don't have the skill set as these engineers at GM and freaking Toyota and whatnot. You just don't. These are scientists that know engines better than any guy from 20 years ago working on cars. It's the same thing here. Don't try to change the software if it doesn't be a change, because the folks who are putting the software together just know it better than you do. They know it better than I do. Now, there are going to be some errors. They're like, man, they screwed that up. By all means, make note of that. But by and large, the software knows what's going on. So don't try to fix it because it's not broke. Now, if we click this, do not roll over, all right, and it'll say distribution before, do not roll over, convert. It'll say distribution before age will not be subject to tax penalty. Well, it will be, but in this case, because Charlotte have her over 59.5, it won't matter. But anyway, at the end of the day, just remember to convert to Roth IRA is what we're trying to do here. So we're going to do $25,000 a year just to kind of show you how this works. And I'm not going to adjust it for inflation or anything. I'm just going to say save. All right. So we're doing $25,000 a year. Then the first thing I always do, I always go to tax. To show you what this chart looks like. And what you see here is that because I'm converting $25,000 a year, I can't remember how much she has in there. She has no tax later on. I mean, none. So she's paying 12.5% on the front end, 13% the next couple of years. And then after that, it goes away. So that is how you know that it is working, is because you'll see the tax fall off like a cliff. Now, if we go back and don't do it, we're going to go back to income. And we're going to, where was it? Go scroll down. Here we go. And we won't do any Roth conversions. And we go back to tax. It still kind of falls off a cliff. And the reason it does, because she doesn't have any money left. I know what's going to happen here. We're going to go to retirement. We're going to go to cash flows. And we're going to go to accounts just to see how that account's set up. And yeah, you can see she's running out of money. Regardless of doing Roth conversions or not, her IRA is zeroed out at this point. So even though that looks good because there's no taxes, well, there's no taxes because she ran out of money. And so that's not going to be a welcome scenario. So we'd have to fix things around there. Anyway, that's how you do Roth conversions right there. You go to profile, you go to income, and you set up a second box that says add income for distributions. Again, it's not as intuitive as you'd like it to be, but it's, once you do, it's pretty good. For goals, again, I just can't stress enough. This is where you want to have all kinds of different goals. If you want to take a vacation, you put Charlotte's vacation here. Someone had posted on my YouTube channel today a comment about these different boxes being nice to use, and in terms of being able to kind of manipulate the data to show a drop of income as opposed to just a linear distribution of income. And I agree with that. The drawback is we just don't know. I mean, I think many people want to have this software, any software, not just this, but to answer all their questions, but there's no way, because we simply do not know what your cash flow is going to be. But so, if you want to do if you want to do a linear income base, what you'd want to do is you just say, okay, I'm going to need, $3,000 a month here. And this will grow each and every year with the rate of inflation. And again, I'm using a 3% rate of inflation. If you don't want to have the linear BASO, you need to create 3 different, what I've done here is I did 3 different years, go-go years. So when Charlotte first retires, she's going to spend $36,000 a year. She'll do it from 2019 to, we'll say 2028. It's 10 years. All right. And then after that, she'll save. After that, she'll spend her slow go years. She'll do, I don't know, 30,000 a year. So it'd be $2,500 a month. And she'll do that from 2000. I think we got 2029 to, we'll say 2038. There we go. And then we have her no-go years. Well, she'll spend $24,000 a year. That'd be 2040 to end of plan. And so in that case, I like it because what happens in this case is it adjusts her income downwards. It's still inflating it, but it adjusts her income downwards. So we go to again to retirement. Then we go to cash flows. And we go to expense, or this time it will be goals. So we go to goals, and what you'll see here is here's her other goals, which is her income that she needs. And we have go-go years. So she has 36,000 in the next, let me just make this up a little bit. There we go. So she has 36,000, adjusting 3% for inflation. And then she was going to have, what do we say, 30,000, but that's adjusting each and every year for inflation as well. So 30,000 is the equivalent of 39,000 later on. But it's a $6,000 drop off from 2028 to 2029 because now she's in the slow go years. And then the no-go years when she's just sitting on the porch, whittling, it drops them 51,000 to 42,000. Again, that's adjusted for inflation though. So it starts off at $2,000 a month here, but it is adjusting at 3%. So when it adjusts that inflation, it's 42,000 20 years from now, if that makes sense. And I actually like that a lot. The drawback about doing that for clients is because no one really knows. And if you ask a client to say, hey, what are your expenses? They don't know. And you never retired, you wouldn't know. So this would be something you'd want to do on your own. And, if you're using the software to say, hey, I think my expenses will drop by 10 or 15% when I hit a certain age. And man, you should play with that until you're blue in the face, in my opinion. All right, let's see what kind of questions we got here. All right, so Scooby is having double counting problems in the right capital for retirement expenses. Yeah, I hope that answered your question. You just got to make sure, again, you're not using. I'm telling you, man, you got to 3 things: your discretionary cash flow, your health insurance stuff, and then your housing costs. Those are 3 things you really want, unless you have mortgage and debt. If you have mortgage and debt, that's another thing too. But basically, for someone who's in retirement with no debt, those are the 3 things that need to be separated. And the reason for that is because I'm inflating discretionary expenses by 3%. I'm inflating healthcare by 5%. And we're inflating housing by whatever it is you're saying your property is growing at. So if you click on property, you can see, let's go here to own. You'll see you have annual appreciation. So your property will be inflating on expenditures for property tax and homeowners insurance by whatever this appreciation rate is, if that makes sense. Let's see. All right, so Greg says, in retirement capital goals, should annual retirement healthcare costs be your health insurance cost? Yeah, I would have it as your estimated cost of all health expenses, Greg. And so let me show what I'm talking about. So we go to, so Greg says, hey, how much should I put for annual health cost in goals? So again, profile and goals, and we got annual retirement healthcare cost. What I would do is I say, this is what I use all the time, 135 for Part B, 35 for Part D, and 120 for supplemental policies. So we take your trusty calculator and we add all those 3 things together. We take 135 plus 35 plus 120. That's 290. I just round up for 300 for simplicity. So that's $300 a month. But you're still gonna have some co-pays. You're still gonna have some co-insurance. You're still gonna have to have eyes and ear stuff done. So instead of $300 a month, I would round that up to like 350 or so, and I say 4,200 would be my healthcare goals, if that makes sense. Now, if you know for a fact you're going to get some teeth or something like that, that might be its own separate goal. You can just kind of go add goal and other, and you can say, Charlotte's teeth, and you say it's going to be $20,000 when she's 27 years old or something like that. And then if that makes sense. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, but the basic stuff is your Part B, your Part D, your supplemental policies. If you're on a Part C, which is a Medicare Advantage plan, that's probably going to be less, and that might include your Part D as well. You just got to understand how that works for your specific plan. If you have TRICARE for life or you're a federal employee health benefit, FEHB, you don't need the supplemental because that comes with your retirement of being a federal employee. Some school districts pay for all that stuff. Some don't. As a lady I was talking to yesterday, her school district won't pay for crap. Some school districts pay for everything. So it's completely up to you. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, this should be no less than $4,000 a year. That's my opinion. But I'll leave that for you guys to figure out on your own. Remember, this is being inflated by 5% a year. All right. So this is being inflated by 5% a year, whereas retirement expenses are being inflated by 3%. So you don't want to, assume that you're going to spend $20,000 a year for healthcare costs. A, it's not likely, and B, it is being inflated by 5% a year, where retirement expenses aren't being inflated by that. And on top of that, if I may, on Social Security, when we go to income, Social Security is only being inflated by 2.6% a year. All right. So Social Security is 2.6, healthcare by 5, and retirement expenses by 3. What I would highly steer you away from, and I think a lot of people do this mistakenly, is that they say Social Security should not be inflated, but healthcare costs should be. And I find that silly because, I say, why would you do that? They say, with Social Security, our cost of living was only 1.6. I don't think 2.6 is correct. And I say, okay, but you're going to use 5% of healthcare. Why? Because everybody knows healthcare costs are going up. And I say, well, how much did Medicare Part B premiums increase last year? It was like 50 cents. So the issue is that if don't kill yourself here. I mean, if you're not going to inflate Social Security, and it's in there, you can't change that because I have it set up like that. But if you're not going to inflate Social Security, and you're not going to, and then you are going to inflate healthcare, that literally makes no sense to me at all. And I don't get that whatsoever. So just leave it. 2.6 is what the trustees report says for Social Security, and 5% is what the trustees report says for healthcare. And that's what I set in stone. And you can't change that because I can't, you don't have the ability to change those kind of numbers. Well, I'm thinking about too, I just while I'm yapping here, 100% U.S. equities has an annual return of 7.4 and a standard deviation of 15.9, by the way. You can see here fixed income or a 60-40 moderate portfolio is 5.1 to 10.2. And if we go to conservative, it's a 4.2. I wouldn't sweat too much the standard deviation for any of these smaller, more conservative accounts. But just remember, a standard deviation of 15.9 is, that's pretty high. That's a pretty decent volatility. So this isn't chump change in terms of using the Monte Carlos. And we're only getting a 7.5% rate of return. A conservative portfolio is 4.2. A preservation, I think, is 3.6. I mean, so you think about this, a preservation 3.6. I mean, you're only getting 3.6 and you're still paying tax, and inflation's 3. So after inflation and tax, this is a losing proposition. No other way around that. If you go to what do we do? Balance is like 4.7, aggressive. So the portfolio that I have on here is not very extraordinarily aggressive in terms of returns. Just be advised. All bonds I'm giving you 3, and then all stocks I think I'm giving you 7.5. So just keep that in mind. The portfolio that I have isn't very aggressive at all in terms of returns. Just keep that in mind. Erie in the house. All right. Dave says, I have right capital. I would like to do different scenarios to compare without having to lose. Yeah, I don't know. You just got to mess around with it. I'm not sure. You can save it if you go retirement. You can save cash flows. You can go to cash flows here. and you can save. There's a download button right there. You can save it to as a CSV file, which is pretty cool actually. So you just have to play around with it. Adam says, what are my thoughts on rental income? What percentage of investment should be in? Man, I no idea. I don't know, Adam. I don't. There's no way a real financial planner would ever say, without knowing your specific situation, what percentage of your assets should be here or there or otherwise. I just don't know. In terms of buying rental property, man, I don't have any, but I do think it's absolutely a good hedge without question. I mean, rental properties factually are tangible assets. Stocks, bonds are not. That's all there is to it. They're intangible assets. So there's always something beneficial about a rental property. They're also putting some pretty significant limitations on growth as well. I mean, these smart growth cities is freaking nuts because they want everybody in the cities. They want them like a freaking, the commissars of the Soviet Union. We're all living in the city in gray doldrums without having to. They hate the left hates the suburbs. They always have. They always will. And they don't want growth. So they're putting these smart growth limits like they're doing in Port Oregon. And that inherently means that people who are already in the real estate prices are going to increase because of a lack of supply. And yet an increasing demand, a lack of supply is happening all over the place. So because of that, I got no problem buying rental properties. I don't want anything to do with it, frankly. I'm not that handy, first of all. I mean, I can change a toilet and all that stuff and, some basic electrical stuff, but I don't want to be getting involved in freaking anything more than that. I certainly don't want someone calling me in the middle of the night. I'm already being woken in the middle of the night 3 times by my man Pablo over here, who had to take a big dump right in my bedroom last night. And it was a squishy one too. Freaking awesome. I think Pablo's got some, he's been eating some grass to try to get his to get regular, if you know what I'm saying. He's over there sleeping. My sister had to put her dog Rooster down today. Sad. He was having seizures all day long, so that's sad. Anyway, I got no problem with rental real estate, none whatsoever. I think it's good to hedge, absolutely. But would I do that in lieu of investing in ETFs? No. Would I do it and combine with it? Yeah, absolutely. But how much should you have? Man, I got no clue. Like Ben says, can you handle the stress of being a landlord? I know I can't. I can't be the stress of being a landlord when my wife tells me to change the freaking, whatever they're called up there, the fire alarms. Ugh. It's 3 a.m. I thought you changed it. Oh, I forgot. Well, now I can't go back to sleep. Oh. You could always change it too, honey. You're supposed to do it because you work from home. Good times. That did not happen. Kevin says, so the total the benefits show, is that as of that, man, I'm not following what you're saying, brother. The total the benefits show is of that as of that date. I don't know what that means. Actually, that does point. I think I'm showing. So let me show you something. Going back to the Social Security statement, I think I might be. This is as of today. All right. So here's Wanda Worker. They're saying if she works until she's 67, her benefit in today's dollars will be this, $19.15. That is not the benefit she's going to get, because we have to adjust this with the cost of living, inflated amount. And 2.6 is what we use. So what happens here in Right Capital, if you put in under profile your income for Social Security, and you're just reading off the statement, it says, based on your primary insurance amount of $2,500, which is what the statement shows, it will automatically adjust that for you. I'm telling you, don't make this too hard on Social Security. The software is freaking great with this. And what's going to happen here is they'll say $19.15 a month. Well, you don't want to put. You want to put $19.15 a month, and they're going to adjust that with cost of living adjustment, 2.6 of what I already used. So that way, when Charlotte hits her retirement age, and whenever she takes Social Security, I should say, it'll be reflected that. Now, I do think this is another huge issue with Social Security. People are going to put that in as if that's their monthly benefit. So if Wanda Worker were using her Right Capital, or not using Right Capital, but just kind of doing a back of the envelope retirement plan, she'd say, oh, I'm going to make $19.15 a month from Social Security. 10 years from now. It won't be 1915 a month 10 years from now. Wanda, it's going to be 1915 a month times 2.6% each and every year, compounded with the rate of inflation. So I hope that helps, Kevin. I think that might be your question. It's just showing it for today, and we have it adjusted automatically for 2.6 cost of living adjustment. Just Jim says, how do I get the software? Just email me. I charge $150, and I don't offer any tutorials on this other than what we're doing here. And then, like I said, my man Scott is creating a Google Groups, which I'll get out here shortly. I was hoping I wouldn't have to email everybody individually, so I'm waiting to see if Scott tells me I do or don't have to do that. But no, man, I mean, I don't. But I don't offer any personal consultation unless you want to pay for my time. And I know that sounds, but I don't have the capacity to answer everyone's emails about Right Capital. So we'll do these on a regular basis because I think the software is freaking awesome. But it's, buyer beware for sure. And secondly, I offer no guarantee that I'll continue with Right Capital. Look, at the end of the day, I might quit tomorrow. I'm not. I love the Right Capital software. And if I may, the reason I love the Right Capital software is because they're increasing it each and every. It's freaking. I mean, I'll show you what I'm talking about. This might not because I only have Charlotte in here, but they're adding stuff to this all the time. Like this download thing is pretty cool. If I go to income flows, Social Security, yeah. So you got look at this. They got survive. They didn't used to have this just a few months ago. Now they got spousal benefits, survivor benefits, child benefits, earning test. It's awesome. It's freaking awesome. But then I'm gonna go to tax, and I love this right here. But what I love even better is watch this. Here's her 1040, and we'll just go to 2032. We see that in 2032, Charlotte will have at that stage $53,000 of Social Security, of which only 971 is taxable. But her standard deduction is well above what her taxable Social Security is. And then at that point, she has personal exemptions too. So she has a big fat goose egg for taxes. But she has $53,883 of adjusted, inflated at cost of living adjustment of Social Security. No other software that I'm aware of does this. By the way, having my accounts are at USAA, and they'll be at Schwab here shortly. And I still have a Schwab account. I have no money in there because when I work for a firm, Schwab, or is it Fidelity? It was Fidelity. Never mind. Scratch that. Fidelity owns eMoney. And if you're a Fidelity account holder, you might have access to eMoney. And eMoney of the two is much better on estate planning than Right Capital. Much better, but not nearly as beneficial on Social Security or taxes as Right Capital. But eMoney is a hell of a lot more expensive by, I think, like $4 to 1 than Right Capital. So I'm a huge fan of Right Capital. Now they might raise their fees $1 million a year, and I won't be able to afford it, and then we'll all lose. But as we say here today, Jim, it's use it for what you can, but just remember, I'm under no illusion. I don't want you to be under any illusion that it will be like this forever, and you'll get a refund back. I don't have the time for any of that. So just buyer beware for sure. What I see? Okay, well, I want to show you the estate stuff. It's actually not great. We go to analysis. All this just says you have these things: wills, durable power of attorney, whatnot. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. But here's the estate planning stuff right here, and it's okay. The eMoney stuff was superior to this. The folks I'm dealing with right now, the estate tax is not an issue for sure. It's just not a concern, but you can still use this. They have trust added, credit shelter trust, funeral expenses, probate expense. All that's fine. But for what we're trying to accomplish is just to make sure regular folks can retire without running out of money. Red Lobster. Fred likes the Steelers suck, and Ravens suck too. Let's see. Ben, what are your thoughts on TRICARE for life? Is it good compared to other health insurance? Steve W. in the house. Oops. Hold on just a second. Oh, man. All right. Theo says, Right Capital has RMDs for Roth 401k. That's right, Theo. So Theo says if I write capital, it's not just write capital. If you have a Roth 401k, there absolutely are MDs without question. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you roll that over to a Roth IRA, and you go to profile, right, and you go to income, and we're going to do distributions, and we're going to say account. It's going to be Roth 401k account. All right. Does that make sense? We're doing a Roth 401k and we're converting it to a Roth at the year that you want to do that. Just so if you don't do it, it will give you RMDs. That's 100% Theo. So just make sure you do distribution like we're doing right here, if that makes sense. And that's right. You're not going to, folks, no one's going to break anything here. I can't stress this enough. It took me a hell of a long time to figure this out. And this is why people send me spreadsheets all the time. And a lot of times I look at them, but I simply, if they're not intuitive to my pea brain, I don't pay much mind to it. Cause I can't, it hurts my brain to try to figure some of these spreadsheets out that people send to me. And so I disregard it. I have a friend of mine who I met on LinkedIn, freaking great guy, who's a spreadsheet fiend. I mean, he's got I'm trying to remember his name, but this guy's freaking, he was like the senior California credit union regulator or something like that. I forgot, but anyway, this guy's a nut. Don Piscula or Pix, I can't remember. Don, hold on just a second. Don Piscula. Anyway, this guy, Don Piscula. I don't think that was it. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. But anyway, this guy, Don Piscula, I can't remember. But anyway, he's a spreadsheet fiend, and he's got all kinds of spreadsheets, which he's emailed to me because I've asked him for like RMD stuff. And if it doesn't hit me immediately, I just like, oh, that almost happened with me, right? Capital. I remember when I signed on for it, I was doing a month. I had like the free trial, and I said, I'm not going to do this because it took me like about a month. And I finally said, let me just take some time to figure it out. And I was able to figure out pretty good. And then I was able to figure out better, but it took me like 3 months. Really, it did. So if it's not intuitive for you right out the gate, don't sweat it. It will be. You just got to run with it. You're not going to break anything. You literally will not break anything. No one knows your business other than you. And it changes all the time. So one thing I would recommend is get on here on a regular basis if you want to, because they do update it quite a bit. You give such great, my man Henry says, I give such great information. He feels guilty getting it all for free. Henry, YouTube pays me money, brother. So by you being here, I get paid. But if you want to buy my books and give them for Christmas presents, more power to you. Absolutely. I got no qualm with that. But yeah, I don't feel guilty. Hell, man. I get paid literally from, am I going to make am I going to be Grant Steven making what I think that guy says making like 600,000 on YouTube? Not even anywhere near that. I'm not even making $50,000 here. But like I said, this YouTube channel not quite pays my mortgage, but comes pretty doggone close. And I'm pretty comfortable with that for sure. And on top of that, I'm meeting people, taking on clients. It's all good. It's karma, man. It's all good. So but I appreciate it. By all means, buy my books for sure. Absolutely. But much obliged. And I think if I remember, Henry, you were saying just the other day in a comment that you felt comfortable finally, maybe for the first time in your life because of the channel. Dude, nothing makes me happier than that. When I hear people saying, they were worried they were going to have to work another 10 years and now they realize they probably don't have to. That's freaking awesome, because I think part of the reason we're in this false dichotomy of Democrats bad, Republicans good, Republicans bad, Democrats good, is we need a bogeyman at all times. And what happens is once you start breaking free of the need to be, in a corporate environment or some environment where you're scared because if you leave, you might go bankrupt or something like that. It just, at least for me, you start looking at everything in a black versus white. And once you break free of that, so, I'm not sure I buy that anymore. It really, really changes your thought process. It really does. It makes you, for me, it makes me relaxed. It just makes me say, I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just is freaking awesome. Actually, it's funny because I was listening to Joe Rogan interviewed Ed Snowden and about the Edward Snowden. For about the first 30 minutes, I enjoyed it immensely. And then he started just going off on how Trump was, I just said, which is weird because Ed Snowden was a guy who showed us how just corrupt the NSA, the FBI, the CIA was. And then to turn around and say that Trump is guiding the NSA, CIA, FBI, and I said, no. That's the exact opposite. This is why I don't like any of those groups, because they're all corrupt. They were corrupted. They're absolutely unequivocally corrupt against Trump. And so for Ed Snowden not to see that, just this false dichotomy, my side is good, that side is bad. Obama's bad, Obama's good. Thus, anyone who's not Obama is bad or good. And I'm sitting there thinking, of all people, Ed Snowden should be able to see how corrupt the CIA, FBI, NSA was. And unfortunately, it started with Bush and Cheney. I get that. And there's a guy like Ed Snowden who kind of did the light on it. But Trump was what came out from my side on the right to say, these guys are corrupt as all can be. And if they're corrupt against Obama, they can certainly be corrupt against Trump. If they're corrupt against Trump, they can certainly be corrupt against Elizabeth Warren. And we don't want any of that. Which is actually ironic, because there's a guy named Frank Church back, who's a senator from Idaho, if you can believe that. Big lip. And he was one of the guys that really took it to the CIA back in the 70s. And again, when you're living under this false dichotomy of our side is good, their side is bad, those of us who were on the left love Frank Church. Those of us who then turn around and become on the right hated Frank Church. And yet, in hindsight, he was right. He was right. We don't want the CIA, NSA, FBI having all access to our stuff. And thus, the whole point about that is when you're staying in the corporate environment because you feel that's all you can do to make ends meet, it's limiting, and it's frustrating. And it doesn't create for me, it didn't create the life I wanted to live. That's for sure. And then when you kind of break free, you start saying, maybe it isn't, just that way or this way. Maybe there's another way. They call it the red pill thing. And I kind of, I have that hook on and sinker because I don't want government going after my political enemies, because I know if they can go after my political enemies, they can go after me as well. And I don't want any of that crap. So anyway, I was disappointed Ed Snowden. I couldn't believe this guy. I say, I don't get how you don't see what the hell was going on with John Brennan, Clapper, Comey. These guys are corrupt as the day is long. And just because they're corrupt going after a guy you don't like, Trump, doesn't mean is right. That need to be nipped in the bud ASAP. And unfortunately, the people who hate Trump are okay with that, which very frustrating. All right, so I was in Washington State in Bellingham, says Robert Hicks. We live just down the road. Next time around, let this Navy dude take me to dinner. Yeah, right on, Robert. Not sure I'd want to be out there anytime other than when I was, because we right here in Georgia, it's flipping gorgeous right now. Imagine Bellingham and Washington State is probably cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Having issues with monies and TSP. One thing about TSP on Right Capital is you're going to have to come up with proxies. No software knows. There's no TSP ticker. Every single software program I've ever used could not ever identify TSP because there's no ticker for the G fund or the F fund. So what I do is I just use VFINX for the C fund. You can use BND for the F fund, whatever, but just use a proxy. It won't. So if you're trying to link up your TSP accounts, I can't remember if it actually works or not. I think it might, but it comes up as other assets. Don't do that. Just manually put it in for TSP because it doesn't. There is no tickers for those funds. So for the C fund, it's VFINX, the Vanguard S&P 500. For the F, which is the fixed income, I use BND. For the S, what's the small cap index? NAEIX, I can't remember. The Vanguard's got a small cap index, NAEIX or something like that. For the international, you just have to find maybe, I don't know, probably not VWO, some international index. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. You got the G fund is just government bond fund. I use the Ginnie Mae, VFIIX. The Ginnie Mae is the equivalent of the G fund by and large. So if the G fund, my proxy is going to be the Vanguard Ginnie Mae, VFIIX. So you got the G, you got the S, you got the F, you got the I, you got the C. That's what I do. So I'd use proxies for those for sure. Are annuities better than bonds with rates being so low? Pretty good question, Adam. I think so. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, I don't know anyone. I don't know your specific situation. I don't know. But yeah, I 100% think that's the case. And the reason, well, one of the reasons for that is because the bonds, in terms of their nominal returns, are up significantly year to date. So everyone thinks I'm up 19% in my bonds. You're not, man. You're just. I can't stress this enough. You're not getting a 19% rate of return. Now, one guy, I think he posted here just right now. He said he's up, I think he said 8% in bonds, and he's looking to go in stocks. I just saw that on my YouTube channel in the comments. And if that's the case, that's freaking awesome, dude. If you're up 8%, 9, 10% in bonds, and you're going to turn around and sell those to go to stocks waiting for, because the stock market tanks or something like that, dude, that's freaking awesome. The drawback is, though, if the stocks don't go down and you're still sitting on the 8 or 9 or 10% up for bonds, that 8 or 9 or 10% is going to go away. It has to. A bond is issued at 1,000, it matures at 1,000. So if a bond is trading at 9 or 10% premium, it has to inherently go down, so it'll return back at the par value, which is the issuing amount, 1,000. There's no other way around that. It's just basic math. If I issue it at 1,000 and it matures at 1,000, the bond can do anything throughout the time of its history, but at some point that sucker is going to mature and is going to mature at 1,000. There's no getting around that. So if you're going in the bond market thinking you're going to get an 18, 19% rate of return because so far year to date, whatever, is up that way, that's a horrific mistake. Whereas annuities, the nice thing about annuities, we know for a fact there is a down limit. You're not losing money. That's a nice thing about an annuity or a certificate of deposit. They are guaranteed by the bank, FDIC insured for a CD, or by the insurance company, which you're not getting much money. But 3.5%, that's what you're getting on a fixed annuity. I mean, there's no downside risk. I'm all about that for sure. Bonds have downside risk. Fixed annuities don't. CDs don't. You'll never get a performance like you're seeing in bonds this year. But again, that performance is fleeting. And I'm telling you right now, if there's anything in my channel, of one of the three things I cannot stress enough is do not get what's the siren song. Remember the siren I can't remember what that was, that Pilgrim's Progress or something like that. I forgot. But anyway, the beautiful lady singing a siren song. Basically, I'm warning you of this. Long story. I think the bond market, it leads a lot of people astray because they say 19% in bonds. Holy crap. What am I doing in stocks? Without knowing how bonds work. Yeah. So one of my things on my channels, I want to show you. Look, people can buy bonds. I got no problem with that, but you don't fall for the allure of that, because what's up will inherently be down. It has to be. All right, so let's keep going here. Yeah, Ben says for Roth 401ks, just roll them over to Roth IRAs when you leave your work. I completely agree with that. Joan, all right. Nielsen stock dividends good for a long term or not, roughly? Joan, I have no clue what you're asking there. Nielsen stock, I don't know what that is. Nielsen stock dividends, I'm sorry, I just don't know. If you roll Roth 401k into an existing Roth IRA, the existing IRA's clock is what counts, but a new account starts the clock. Yep. Get a real estate investment trust if you want to have access to real estate. I got no qualm with that. Yeah, I like preferred stocks. Absolutely. How long do you get to use the right capital when you pay the fee? As long as I pay them, Ben. I mean, it could be 5 years. It could be 5 minutes. I offer no assurance whatsoever. None whatsoever. So just be advised. Look, man, there's tons of wonderful softwares out there. Larry Kotlikoff's maximize my Social Security, I think ESP plan or something like that. Larry Kotlikoff, maximize my Social Security. It's like $40 a year. It's freaking awesome. I love it. It doesn't have the same tax stuff. That's why I don't use it. I would have used that 2 seconds flat. And I still might at some point incorporate that, because when it comes to what they do is consumption smoothing. In Right Capital, no other software does consumption smoothing. And what I mean by consumption smoothing is your old buddy Josh with my 4 kids, my wife, and old Pablo sitting here. We have house, we have broken bones, we have braces, we have all this, we have vacations for a family of 6. We got this, that, and the other. 10 short years from now, none of that will exist. We'll have no mortgage because we're going to downsize, right? If we can sell the house, and we're not going to have a mortgage, we're not going to have braces, we're not going to have, we might have vacations for 6, but we won't have broken bones. We won't have to sign up for school. So consumption smoothing means I need a higher income now for the consumption I have to take. In the future, though, it's just me and Shar, and there's no mortgage and no all the other stuff, my consumption is going to drop like a brick in water. So what retirement planning software does, it assumes that this level is a consumption that I need now is going to go forward into my retirement, which is freaking insane. And Carlo said, no, screw all that. We're going to consumption smooth and basically level it off. And I find that to be incredible idea. And I got that from the Spend Till the End book, which is on the shelf there, from him and Scott Burns, that I think they had written in 2007 or something like that, which for me, it changed everything in my retirement planning. So I said, I'm assuming that your expenses today will continue on each and every year until you die. That's just silly. It's silly. Now, if you're 62 years old, you're empty nester, and you're already in your downsized home, well, that's something to think about. But for me to run a retirement plan and say, Josh, there's no likelihood of you ever retiring because you're never going to generate the income in retirement that you need for your current expenditures. Well, it's stupid. That's a dumb financial plan. And unfortunately, a lot of people do that. So the Carlo, I maximize my Social Security. The last I saw was $40 a year. I love it. I'm a huge fan. All right, let's see what else we got. David said you learned a couple new tricks today. Good. How do I update the current plan? So all right, so the current plan is always going to be on this profile. So what happens is everything that you have in this profile is going to lock down essentially to be in the current plan. So what you can do, if you go here, you can kind of mess around. If you click on, so what happens here? You're under retirement, you're under analysis. You scroll down. I don't know why it doesn't just default, but you got to click on this action items thing right here. All right, here we go. Okay, cool. So you click on this action items. It's going to open up this, whatever this is, a gray back screen. And here you have current plan versus proposed. And you can mess around with this. You can do whatever you want and hit refresh. It's great because it'll show you your current plan versus your proposed plan. Your current plan has been locked down. What that means is everything that you have under profile is reflected in that current plan. So once you're comfortable with what's in your lockdown amount and you want to run different scenarios, you just do it right in here. If you want to say, I'm only going to spend, $1,000 a month more, all kinds of different things you can do in here. It's freaking awesome. But if you need to change your current, you just got to go back to profile and then all this stuff, your net worth, your goals, your income. And then so that's why I say to people, look, once you have that locked down, your goals, instead of spending, there we go. Instead of $4,200 a month or a year in healthcare costs, it's going to be $5,000 a year, whatever. So that will be in your current plan. Does that make sense? So everything in this profile, your net worth will be in your current plan. So you change your, how long I'm going to live for. I'm going to live until I'm 90, or we'll say 85. They'll all be reflected in your current plan now. So that's kind of like the lockdown one. And then you can kind of go back here to retirement, and you can click on, go down to this guy here, action items, and kind of change around with all that, if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. This right here is pretty sweet. Another thing too is I do like this confidence. It will show you, this shows me run out of money, but that's the Monte Carlo analysis. So you see is 5 to 95% probability, based on that asset allocation and based on the standard deviation, which I talked about. Just tons of stuff in here, comparisons, and there's so much stuff in here. You got to play around with it. You go to stress tests. Only thing I don't like about stress tests, why I like it, and I think it's pretty cool. All these things are not codependent. They're independent. So if I have equity markets crashing by 90%, that's not going to have anything on inflation will be higher, if that makes sense. So I love this stress test thing, but they're independent. They're not interdependent or codependent, whatever. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So if you say equity markets crashed by 90% and taxes will be higher by 40%, that's not going to have anything to do with these other things necessarily. But I do like the stress test thing. I think it's pretty cool. All right, so let's keep going down here. Ross, PEI. Did you see my thing that I want to trade California for Alberta? So you guys give us Alberta, we'll give you California. One of my lib followers says, but California's GDP is 3.3 trillion. Good luck with that. I said, yeah, we'll sacrifice 3.3 trillion of GDP and we'll still be the biggest country GDP wise by far. And we'll take an Alberta instead. And then you guys will triple your GDP by having California. Everybody will be happy there. So we'll still have 50 states. You guys will still be Canada, and you have more taxpayers for the national health system there too. So win-win. So go ahead and tell old Justin that we want to trade California for Alberta. Let's see what he says. Oh, by the way, Justin Trudeau did not win majority. Is he illegitimate like the Trumpster? All the people say Trump is not legitimate. He did not win a majority of the votes. Neither did old boy Justin. Oh, man. I love that Justin Trudeau guy just irks me. Just, oh, man. And we got guys on the right are just like, who was I reading about the other day too? Some right-wing guy, and same kind of thing. He's just, dad and mom were big activists and whatnot. Who the hell was that? It wasn't Bush, because Bush obviously, but it was another guy. I can't remember. It's like all these guys, man, they're all part of the governing authority, and they just Trudeau, obviously Bush, but there's another one too that I'm drawing a blank. And Romney, Mittens, that's who it was. All these guys, man, they're all freaking part of the elite class. All of them. Oh, my goodness. Romney with a stupid Pierre Redacto thing. I'm like, what kind of freaking loser are you, dude? You got a fake Twitter account just so you can sing your own praise. I'm just like embarrassed for that guy. I'm embarrassed the fact I donated like $100 to a stupid campaign in 2012. Don't let me do that again. Oh, my goodness. What was I thinking? All right, so Shannon says, can Right Capital, can it tell you if Roth conversions are worth a tax hit? Yes. I'm not sure how this, it won't say, jump out and say, Sharon, you should do it, but I'll show you what it does, which is flipping awesome. Have I shared how much I love it? That is under, I can't remember where it's at. Cash flow. No, tax right there. Right there. All right. So this is going to be, let me change a couple things here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to change Charlotte's income. I appreciate y'all being here, by the way, for sure. Much obliged. I love this stuff. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm weird like that. So I need to go to profile. So this is cool, Sharon. What I show you here, Sharon Barrett. So what we're going to do is we're just going to change her goals. What we'll do is we'll just say that's 24,000 a year, and then we'll get rid of these other ones, 25, whatever. Blink. And we'll just change these out to 0. Notice nothing is blowing up when I do this, by the way. You notice that, and we'll just get rid of this guy for the time being. Oops. I guess we'll just make it 0, and then the reason I want to show you something, I want to show you. We'll say 1,000. We'll just, for simplicity, I'm just messing around. So this is not legit, but I'm just going to show you. So if you go to retirement, and then we go to cash. What is it? Cash. No, it's under tax. There we go. We go to tax. That's what it is. All right. So watch this. We go to, is it tax distributions? Yeah. All right. Sweet. All right. The one drawback, this irks me actually, but all right. So what you'll see here is under tax and distributions, adjusted tax and income tax bracket. You scroll down here. This is going to be, so let me show you what I'm talking about. If Charlotte wants to do Roth conversions and we want to fill up a tax bracket so proposed strategy, tax adjusted ending portfolio, 0. So if we want to fill up the 12 to 15% tax bracket, the reason they're doing 12 to 15 is because after 2026, the 12% becomes 15%. What you'll see here is it fills up that tax bracket. And if she does that, she actually loses money. She'll have $4,100 less than by not doing Roth conversions. All right. Now, if we have an estimated terminal rate, this is where it gets interesting. This is where e-money was fantastic. And I do miss the e-money because it was great. What this says, this tax rate is applied to the balance and tax deferred accounts at the end of the projection, i.e. the amount you're leaving to your heirs. What is their tax rate going to be? And then off the top of my head, I can't remember if we're leaving anything. Bear with me just 1 second. Are we leaving anything here too? Yes. Okay. So there's 77% probability of success. Okay, cool. But I want to bear with me just 1 second. We're just going to get rid of all this. Boink, boink. And we're going to hit current strategy. And that should change something here. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So now we're going to go to tax. All right. This is freaking awesome. I love it. All right. So we're leaving money to the crumb crunchers. That's what this says. That's not what it says, but it does say that. It just says we're leaving money because we have a taxable burden. All right. So we're going to hit details. Nope. That'll give you the tax chart. We're going to hit distributions. Excuse me. We're going to hit distributions. So tax distributions. And I say, I want to fill up the tax bracket right now. I want to convert Roth conversions to fill up some of these tax brackets. So let's just say we're going to fill up the 22 to 25% tax bracket. And you can see how that jumped up right there. If I can let me move my mug out of the way. So all right, so see, that's going to drop. So right now we're going to say we're going to do Roth conversions and we're going to fill up the 22% tax bracket and see how it jumped up. This orange line is a 22% tax bracket. Now, what happens is by doing that, tax adjusted ending portfolio is $63,000 less because you have the two parentheses than if we did a pro rata withdrawal strategy without conversion. That simply means don't do conversions and you would have more left. All right. Now, watch this. So estimated terminal tax rate. All right. So if we change this, it leaves a little bit. You see how that went from 43,997 from 71,669. So what's happening here is the more the kids have to pay, the less money they're going to have. I hope that makes sense. So the more the kids, the estimated terminal tax rate, how much are you leaving to the children, and what is their tax bracket going to be? If that makes sense. And so the higher the tax bracket here, the more they're going to have to pay when they receive IRA distributions. I don't use this that often. The reason I don't use the estimated terminal tax rate is it's just what happens for this is once you hit 70, they stop doing the Roth conversions. I just wish they would not do that. And now I'm sure that'll be fixed at some point. I'm sure this is confusing everybody. Yeah, a couple people locked off. But once you hit 70 years old, they stop doing Roth conversions to fill up the tax bracket, which I wish they would not do that. On top of that, withdrawal strategy, sequential or pro rata. And one thing I don't like about this is it's saying pro rata says take it from, if you need $100,000 from your account, take 33 from your Roth, 33 from your taxable, 33 from your IRA. We don't want that. So it gives us sequential, which says take it from taxable accounts first, tax deferred accounts next, and then tax free accounts. Well, I don't want that either. I want it to come from tax deferred accounts first, if that makes sense. And that's why I don't like this, because for me, I'm like, no. I want it all come out from tax deferred accounts. I can't remember what this is right here. Oh, it says where the taxes are coming from. Withdrawal from tax deferred. That's your taxes. So you're paying, you can see right here, if you're doing distributions, it shows you where the taxes are coming from. It's because you're doing Roth conversions. But the problem is, at the end of the day, I don't want sequential and I don't want pro rata. I want it all from tax deferred accounts first and then taxable accounts, and it doesn't let you do that. So while this is nice and it looks nice, the drawback is what I just said. You can do all kinds of things: comparison, tax adjusted ending wealth. I mean, just tons of stuff here. I love it. I think it's freaking fantastic. Account balances. But again, until we can have it specifically where I'm taking it tax deferred first, taxable next, and then tax free last, it's not quite as useful for me as what I like. But you've done some different things. Mess around with it until you're blue in the face. It's great. You can go to details here. It says a conversion amount. I love it. But so anyway, so I emailed Right Capital, and like they always do, they email me right away, which is why I love these guys. And they said the workaround is literally, if you want income and you want to take it from tax deferred accounts first, you just got to go to profile and you got to go to income. And instead of doing Roth conversions, you just do, I'm literally not converting it. I'm just taking money from my IRA accounts and I'm taking it out to spend. That's confusing as all can be. I get it, but you just got to play around it. But just, you can do that. So let's just say, I say, look, Charlotte needs $50,000 a year. Right Capital is going to have her taking it from her taxable accounts first, then tax deferred, and then Roth IRAs. No, wrong answer. I want to take it from her tax deferred accounts first, then taxable, then Roth IRAs. It doesn't let you do that unless you do it from here. You're saying she needs $50,000 a year. We just change the name right there for distributions, whatever. Take $50,000 a year, but make sure you click the button that says "Do not convert," if that makes any sense. Anyway, a lot going on there, but yeah, so that it does do that for you. It says, hey, this could be beneficial to you. The best way to find out if it's beneficial, frankly, is just to run the numbers and look at your retirement. And just look, this is what I do. I say, look, what is my probability of success for doing conversions versus what's my probability of success for not doing conversions? What is my median liquid net worth? That's what this is, your median liquid net worth of doing conversions versus not doing conversions. And then what I do is I go to cash flows and I literally download the tax payment. I literally download that and I tally them all up and I see which pays more. That's what I do. One of these days I'll do a video where I just do a whole financial plan again. But anyway, a lot going on there. I get it. All right. Yeah, the Odyssey, right on. I never read it. To be honest with you. Is that Homer? Isn't that the guy's name? Homer or something like that? Homer Simpson? Did I miss anybody? All right, did I get everybody? Looks like so. Oh. Yeah, so Don Steer says, took him a couple months of messing around with it to finally figure out what he's doing. Yeah, me too. That's I could not agree with that more, Don, for sure. For me too, without question. All right, you guys, Sharon, what documentation is needed to move an IRA into a Roth if you have a capital loss you want to avoid paying the tax? What documentation is needed to move an IRA into a Roth if you have a capital loss? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I don't know. I don't know what documentation you would need. So I don't know, brother. Sorry. All right. That's about it, my friends. That's an hour and 20 minutes. So much obliged for y'all being here for sure. Thanks for hitting the like button. I appreciate y'all saying that, but again, I appreciate it for being here. Again, I'm working on my course. I'm going to have one video today on this one thing. I'm going to do a video on this thing I saw on Market Watch. Yeah, this was the freaking media. That's why I can't stand them, how they regurgitate everything. So this came out last year, and I did a video on it last year, and they essentially made fun of these people who had $350,000 a year in salary and weren't making ends meet. And this guy named the Financial Samurai did a blog post about it. This is literally a year and a half ago. And I criticized him and I criticized his blog post about it because I was saying just nuts. Anyway, so I look up on my Market Watch and here you go. Here's the same damn article, the same damn critique by the same damn guy. I said, this is literally, it's like, they regurgitate the same stuff over and over and over again. Nothing new. It drives me insane. So I'm going to regurgitate it myself because the guy is freaking missing the boat. I sit there and say, going back to what I said about consumption smoothing. All right, so this guy's saying they need 25 times their salary in order to retire. And he's using it based on their current budget. Like with it, They got kids, they got health expenses, I say, why would you do that? Well, I don't understand. So anyway, if Right Capital is not your cup of tea, because it's heavy on the tax planning, it's not, I mean, it's good for retirement planning, but at the end of the day, for not retirement planning, for retirement income plan, it's good. I would highly advise you to go to Larry Kotlikov's website, Maximize My Social Security, because that is better when it comes to retirement planning, especially if you're younger, like if you're Josh. I'm 49 years old, and I need consumption smoothing as opposed to reading some guy on a blog that doesn't, I literally don't understand why some guy doesn't realize that there are a bunch of expenses that are going to go away by the time these guys retire. Right Capital won't show you that unless you manually put it in, like we just showed you here today, with separate boxes. But Maximize My Social Security will. And again, it's cheap. It's $40 a year. I love it. And I'll probably buy into that again and do some videos on that too. Because when it comes to consumption smoothing for younger people, Right Capital isn't good. I mean, it's good for soon-to-be retirees, but not for consumption smoothing for people in their 30s and mid 40s. It's just not. Because it doesn't allow you to say, hey, my cash flow is going to drop off a cliff. How does that look later on? I mean, again, it does, but you got to manually do that and figure it out. And it can be time consuming. So anyway, all right, my friends, we'll see you all on Sunday live and in person, 7:30. And I'm going to take him out before he poops again. And appreciate y'all being here. God bless. Thank you now. So we got to stop share, and we're going to stop video and end meeting.